Hey LEGO fans, and welcome back to MB Bricks. It's tutorial time, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieve my angled walls that I've used in several builds. If you like this tutorial, be sure to give me a like and a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications for new videos. This is the final build for today, achieving angles both inward and outward. So let's not waste any time and let's dive right into the tutorial. So to start off building your design, you're going to want to figure out what shape your building is going to be. So I've just done a very basic outline here. This is the base, so if you have it on a landscape, you can put it on an angle if you want, because it'll be totally separate. You can also build right onto your landscaping if you desire, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to be doing it this way. Next, you're going to want to decide which walls you want to have angled. So for this build, I'm just going to be choosing this wall and this wall. Now we're actually going to be building the walls that are angled completely separate from the base. And you're going to want to get a length that is one stud in from either side. So for this wall here, it's going to be really simple because it is actually 10 studs wide. And then 2 on the other side. And then this one's a little bit more complicated because we're going to need 2 plates. Since plates only go up to 1 by 12, we would be too short. So you can plan your buildings so that you've got the right plate length. However, in this design, I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it. That way, if you don't have the correct length, then you can see how this is done. It's not that much more complicated anyways, so we'll show you both designs. So next we are going to have to decide if we want any windows or doors on these angled walls as we build them, and then what type of wall you want to build, so what kind of look you're going to want to achieve. I'm going to be going with the dilapidated style for this tutorial, since I find that with angled walls it's usually a broken down building of some sort, and the dilapidated style goes really well with that. So I've got some parts here of all sorts, and I'm just gonna start building this wall up, and I will see you in a minute. So I've finished these 2 walls. I have my longer one with a window and the shorter one with a brick-built door. And these are going to be our 2 angled walls for the tutorial today. Now I've taken the time off camera to find this particular spot using a jumper plate. Now this spot is where the one angled wall is going to connect. It can take a little bit of time to find that spot, so I just did it off camera, and what you're going to use to connect the wall to that spot is just actually this rope piece here, and it's connected to the wall using a headlight brick, and then you can kind of cover it up with a brick or foliage or however you want to, which is what makes the dilapidated style so great for using angled walls, because you can cover it up very easily. And now when it's on, you have to kind of line it up here, and then this will just attach to the jumper plate, and then it will hold it in place. Let me back that up for you so that it is angled outwards. Now the other way you can do angled walls is obviously inwards, and inwards is a lot easier to find where you want the spot, so I'm just going to do this live on the camera. So I just use a couple of simple tall bricks, so these are 1 by 2 by 5s. And then you take the other wall and you lean it back as such. So now that one's angled in and this one's angled outwards, and you can adjust this if this angle is obviously, oops, hit the camera there. If this angle is too much for what you want, just adjust these two bricks here. And then, so you can see here it's a much more subtle angle, but still there. So depending on what you're looking for, I think this can actually go back a little bit more. There we go. That's the look I'm trying to achieve. So that is a little bit more subtle. So if you like that, then you're all set. If you wanted a bit more dramatic, then you can move it back a little bit more as well. For this next part, we're going to start building the walls around the outside that are not the angled walls. They'll actually be attached to the base. However, we are going to want them to follow the angle of these walls, whether it be inward or outward, depending on how you build it. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Now it's actually pretty simple. If you take a headlight brick or a single brick with stud on one side, and so it depends on how far out you want your angles. So I'm going to just show you really quickly: brick stud on one side and a cheese wedge. So this is for walls that are angling outwards, and then you're going to just simply place a 1 by 2 on top, because there you got your subtle increase, and then from there you can take another brick and continue building upwards, and then eventually you can build another one very similar. Increase it and continue upwards until you have something that looks like this. And then as your wall that you've already created, that's not actually attached to the base, it will follow along, which is why we want to get these walls done first and figure out the angle either inward by placing these bricks or outwards by using the string piece with the jumper plate attached, so you can start building right beside your wall so you can get it as close as possible. I'm going to go into a quick time lapse and I'm going to build a little bit, but since the dilapidated style does take quite a while, it's very time consuming. I won't show you the whole build, but I'll show you part of it, and then yeah, I'll show you the end result of that in a minute. Alrighty, so we are all done building up our walls. I kept this one plain in the back for this tutorial so I didn't have to spend too much time. doing the dilapidated style, as I said, it does take a fair bit of time, but it does look very nice at the end. As you can see, we have our angled walls, one going inward and this one going outward. Now these are still loose, they're not actually fully attached to the plates, so we're just going to lock them into place with a plate going across. This helps make sure that they don't go anywhere, and it is just flush with the top of the wall here, so you can do your upper floors. And then we do the same over here. And then yeah, that doesn't, it goes a little bit more than this one, but that's alright. Sometimes you have to kind of just keep adjusting them. You can kind of try and push down a little bit into the studs. But yeah, now you can kind of pick it up and move it around. And it's pretty solid. There is a bit of a gap, but sometimes you can do landscaping or foliage around that so that you don't see it as much. And then the one going out actually has no gap, which is really nice, but it has more of a gap on top. So, but for the most part, you don't really notice that. That's about it for your angled walls. I am going to put a top on here so you can see a finished product, and I will be back in a minute with that for you. So this is the final product. It's almost exactly the same as the build that was used in my Lost Explorers mock, and if you'd like to see that video, I will leave a link in the description to that. I had to switch up this side as I wanted to do an inward angle as well as the outward for this tutorial. So that's a bit different, but the rest is pretty much the same. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I do have more tutorials available on my channel, and I will leave a link in the description to a playlist of all those videos as well. Thanks again for checking out this video today, and until next time, keep on building.